Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm traveling Europe for 6 months. Let's talk about Bad Workaways. Workaway is essentially a way to travel for free. You are volunteering, helping a person or family, maybe small business, and in return you get free food and free accommodation. Usually the type of things you do as a workaway are menial tasks, maybe cooking, cleaning, gardening, sometimes childcare or English lessons, whatever they need done. The point of Workaway is to provide an equal exchange, and Workaway actually has the guideline that volunteers are not supposed to work more than 25 hours a week. This is an important detail, and we will get back to it. I want to preface the rest of the video by saying that I have recently done my first Workaway, and shout out to John from Ride Slovenia. My experience was awesome. I was super lucky. John and everybody at Ride Slovenia made our time awesome. We stayed in a little village called Luce. We have several videos there, by the way. It was an amazing experience. We're traveling for 6 months, and we already know that our time doing Workaway in Slovenia is going to be one of the highlights of our trip. But we are not gathered here today to be positive. We are here to drag some bad Workaway profiles. And girl, I am ready to spill the tea. I have compiled these list of Workaway host profiles as I was searching for a Workaway to do. Some places the whole profile is kind of off, but most of these just sounded good or okay until 1 or 2 lines in their profile that really just made the whole thing crap. Now, there are a ton of Workaways that sound horrible to me personally, like places with no toilets, no running water, definitely no internet, no people for miles around. But I didn't add all those to this list because people were honest about it and they're just living an off-grid lifestyle or whatever. Those I'm not going to count because at least they're being upfront about it and it's just their lifestyle. It's not like you as a volunteer would be living below them, you know what I mean? So I'm not counting those. Let's get into this, into the first Workaway profile that I really noticed, or Workaway host profile that I noticed was just crap. And here's the weird thing, Workaway actually has like a huge flaw in its rating system, and this host has like 100% good rating. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at my computer, that's why I'm looking down. People I've personally talked to and people who've left not good reviews, they'll go to these places because these Workaway hosts have so many good reviews and they're so confused. Why are there so many good reviews when it was such a crap Workaway? And that's a huge flaw in Workaway's system because the Workaway host can see what you wrote, your review for them, and then they can review you. And then if you have a bad review as a Workawayer, then it really hurts your chances of getting more Workaways. So I think what's happening is that people are leaving good reviews so that their host will give them a good review so that they can continue Workawaying. And I've also heard that bad reviews sometimes just don't get posted. They go up for review by the Workaway team, and it's a real shame because they're not getting accurate reviews. Anyway, so let's get into here. This first place is Renovating, an old railway station near Prague, Czech Republic. Everything seems pretty normal for the most part, talking about the building, until you get down to the section called Help. This person's telling you the things you need to bring with you. Flip-flops, okay, work clothes, work boots, makes sense, sleeping bag. Okay. A towel, so we can't provide you a towel. These type of things always stick out to me. We need to bring a sleeping bag. You can't provide, like, alright, I'm already going in, but it drives me nuts. I see this all the time, and we're gonna see this again. Travelers are coming from all over the world, and you can't just buy some sheets and a blanket for them. It just blows my mind. It makes me so annoyed. Like, what do you mean? You can't give us a towel? You don't have a towel to give us. These are like basic things. I'm already like getting annoyed. So we're sharing a bedroom, that's fine. We have a bed but no sheet. Shower but no towel. So then it goes down and says some rules. Some of them make sense. Don't drink and smoke at the station. Understandable. In bed by 11 p.m. Another thing that stuck out to me. In bed by 11 p.m. Do I have a curfew? What is that? What do you mean in bed by 11 p.m.? Keep physical contact with the other volunteers to a minimum. That's kind of funny. Don't use smartphone during meal times and breaks, and think about putting your smartphone in your bag during work time. So on my off time, when I'm eating, you're trying to tell me I can't do what I want and use my frickin' phone. If it's your personal time, Why does it matter if you use your phone? Why are you trying to dictate when I can use my phone and relax? You realize people are coming from all over the world. They probably have family who are curious about how they're doing. They probably want to stay up to date with relevant news. I know there's a whole thing about millennials and their phones, blah, blah, blah. Every adult I know is addicted to their phone. If it's your break, why can you not use your phone? Why? Why does it matter? Especially since earlier it says there is internet connection, but you can't use it. It annoyed me, okay? First of all, the freaking curfew thing. And then the phone thing. Why are you trying to dictate every aspect of my life? I'm volunteering for you, dude. You're getting free labor. And I can't freaking do what I want in my off time. And no, fuck you. I'm going to bed at 11:02 just to spite ya. So I guess this place, part of it is rented out and part of it is being like rebuilt apparently. And this guy says, with the people who are renting apartments, don't plan activities with them or outside the location. Don't hang out with them. This was just so weird and so controlling. I mean, I get not bothering the guest, but if you make friends with the guest, why can't you hang out with them? As I'm saying this, I could see reasons that maybe happened. Maybe Workawayers were like bothering the guests, but can't you just be like, don't bother the guests? It's weird to say that you can't hang out with people outside of the station. This thing gets weirder though. Listen to this. For the days off, I prefer that people go to Prague and stay at a hostel. I have a discount code for staying at a good hostel in Prague. Consider staying at this hostel before, after, and during your stay. I don't demand that people stay in Prague for the weekends, but if you want to stay at the station, let me know before you arrive. It's not a problem, but it's good for me to know as this can affect the program for other volunteers. This guy is saying that on the weekends, when you're not volunteering for him, you can't even stay there. Or you can technically, but he really wants people to go stay in Prague for the weekend and then come back. He prefers that. So you can volunteer for this guy 5 days out of 7, right? Doing this free labor, not allowed to use the internet. You don't have sheets, you don't have a towel. You're staying in a bunk with a bunch of other people, and you're not even allowed to stay there on the weekends. You have to leave and pay for your accommodation when the whole point of Workaway is that you're not supposed to pay for accommodation. What do you get out of this? You get to work in a railway station for this guy who won't let you use your phone, won't let you hang out with anybody, makes you go to bed by 11 p.m. and says that you have to leave on the weekends. Like, what are you getting out of this? I mean, I guess if you really like to do manual labor, then this is perfect. It baffles me that this place has like 100% host rating. 100% host rating, 157 feedback reviews. If you don't see this stuff written in there, or you think it's not a big deal because there's so many reviews, you could go and have a shitty time. I scroll down and then it seems like there's this couple who stayed in the winter and they were saying the place was cold and was heated up with coal combustion, which has its hygiene and air-related problems. The heaters need to be on. One needs to prepare for possible cold dirt getting in clothing. That's a health hazard right there. Yeah, I think this is actually one of my least favorite Workaway profiles that I saw. Okay, on to the next one. Renovate a 19th-century house. Volunteers will each receive their own single bed upstairs in our house. We will provide linen for the beds, but you will need your own sleeping bag, blanket, and pillow. Honestly, I guess that was the only thing in this whole profile that bothered me, but yeah, it bothers me a lot to think that they can't provide you with a blanket and a pillow. You can't buy a pillow. Come on, who's using Workaway? Obviously travelers. Traveling from all over the country or all over the world. I mean, aside from all their clothes and whatever else they need to literally carry a pillow and a sleeping bag. Unless they're planning to go camping the rest of their time. Just buy a pillow. Buy a blanket. It drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. Okay, so this is a weird one. This is I don't know how to pronounce it. Bhakti, yoga ashram and farm community. Basically, they're like monks. There's a temple. I guess it's a place of pilgrimage for visitors all around the world. I don't know, some sort of yoga hippie temple with monks. I don't know. They need to keep the atmosphere sacred. So they refrain from eating non-vegetarian food, taking intoxication such as tobacco, alcohol, or drugs, and no sex out of marriage. And if you're a lady, you have to dress in a modest way because the monks have taken vows of celibacy. So kind of weird, I guess a little bit restrictive, but they're being upfront about it and it's part of their religion, yoga practices. This is the first thing here that I noticed something was really off though. We're offering the same deal as we've had for years in our community with the working time and free days. 6 days work in a week and up to 5 to 6 hours a day. 6 days of work a week, 5 to 6 hours a day. Excuse my math skills, but that is not 25 hours a week. That is way above it. That's illegal. That's free work. Just hire somebody at that point. If you're gonna make someone work that much, You need to hire them. You need to pay them for their time, because that's a job. And what's funny is that below in hours expected, it says maximum 4 to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, because that's as much as Workaway will let you put. In that same vein, this next Workaway in Germany seemed okay until you read the daily life that they are expecting of you. 8 to 9 you work, and then basically it seems like there's free time until 2 to 7. So that should be like 5 hours of work. In this gap between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. I'm assuming there's free time because it says there may be then the opportunity to join the horse riding classes. But then it says in the times in between you have the opportunity to do gardening, painting, looking after the children, or whatever you wish. So reading in between the lines here, it's basically saying you have these times off, but you have the opportunity to do this type of work or this type of work or this type of work. Whatever you want, as long as it's work. I feel like this is something that if you just assume, oh, okay, so it says maybe I could do a horse riding class, and you're assuming that they're gonna give you that time off then because it's supposed to be the 5 hours a day thing. But read this. It's, you could either do gardening, painting, or look after the kids in the times in between. They are expecting you to work all day. Like, I'm telling you that. They are expecting you to work from 8 to 7 all day with these people working. They also have 100% host rating, but they only have a couple feedbacks, and those are both 4 stars. Reading these reviews, it's just work all the time. That's kind of the sucky thing about Workaway sometimes, because you run the risk of having hosts who maybe they don't exactly force you to work, but you're in a situation where it's awkward and it's uncomfortable to say, no, I'm not supposed to work now. And I think what ends up happening to a lot of people doing Workaway is that they'll just work all the time, because it kind of takes guts to say, no, I'm not supposed to be working right now. If they kind of have the expectation or the hope that you're going to keep working, and then you're like, no, I'm not, then the rest of the time, maybe those people will be awkward to you, you know what I mean? Especially if there's time in between like this, and especially if your host keep working, it's kind of hard to step away while they're still working. You kind of have this pressure to just work all the time, and the next thing you know, you're not getting an equal exchange. You're just being free labor. And especially if there's no way out of there. There's no nearby transportation, and usually travelers don't have cars. If they're using Workaway, they usually can't afford to have their own transportation. So you're just stuck there, and you probably feel obligated to keep working. So that kind of accompanies what I have here next. This Workaway seemed awesome, actually, helping with gardening and maintenance in Canada. But when you read one of the reviews, they're nice people, but I left early because the volunteer hours expected listed on the site are not reality, and they're reluctant to give me any time off. You shouldn't be reluctant to give your volunteers time off. They're supposed to get time off. I hate this mentality like, oh, I'm going to literally use these people as free labor and not give an equal exchange. Also, something in this profile kind of made me laugh. The whole thing sounds pretty good. I can't really find anything too bad about it, but it says, we are sorry, but we cannot accommodate special dietary needs, vegans and vegetarians, unless it is just an allergy. It's just kind of just funny, like, we won't accept vegetarians or vegans if they choose to do it, but if they have to, it's okay. It's like, okay, well, I'll just pretend I have an allergy then. It's just silly. Okay, so next one is this Workaway host profile from Hawaii. This Workaway is fine. It seems, for the most part, besides this one part I'm going to read, it seems like a lot of work, pretty boring. But then I got to this part. You may borrow bedding upon request, which was the first thing that kind of struck me as odd. It's just like, yeah, if you ask, then we'll give you the basics. I know I'm nitpicking, okay, but like, that's just weird. What do you mean? Just give me bedding. Can I not have a sheet? I gotta ask you for that? It's not like normal to have a fucking sheet. Can I please have a sheet? Like, it's just weird. What do you mean on request? I don't feel like that's something you need to have to ask for. I feel like it's a pretty obvious thing that volunteers will probably want bedding, probably would like a sheet. It's weird that we'd have to ask for that. Hey, can I please have water? Water's available upon request. Food and water, upon request, maybe we can have some. We'll see. We do not give out Wi-Fi codes for use on individual media, but you can use your computer Monday through Friday. You have Wi-Fi, but you don't let anyone use it. So everyone's got to use their data. Even when I lived in the US, my data was expensive to use. So think about the cost of using data on your phone from another country. It's so expensive to use data abroad. You can't just give these people Wi-Fi. I mean, I don't know how many people they're allowing here. Volunteers share an outdoor covered, simple screened-in kitchen and a compost toilet and outdoor hot shower. You will need to provide the majority of your own food. You will experience a rustic lifestyle that may at times feel like camping. I like how they try to to like make it seem like it's a good thing, like it's an exciting thing, like, oh, it's almost like camping, have fun. We're not at a campsite. This is just a shitty accommodation. Expect all things that come with living closely with nature, including bugs, very occasional power outages, sometimes spotty cell surface, and getting physically dirty. Just what I envision on my tropic holiday to Hawaii. Also, I like that you have to provide most of your food. So you're living in the shitty accommodation, you have to ask for bedding, which I guess you may or may not get. You're coming here to live in a tent. They have Wi-Fi, but you're not allowed to use it. Not a real toilet, not an indoor shower, living with bugs, maybe power outages, spotty cell service, being dirty. This is something that bothers me because yes, they're being upfront about all these things, but unlike some of the other places that I saw, they can use Wi-Fi, but you can't. They can live in a house, and you can't. They can have bedding, and you can't. It's like you're living below them. Again, it doesn't feel like an equal exchange. I mean, I guess there's a roof over your head, but like, barely. A whole nother side of bad workways are the hostels, working for businesses or, businesses. I almost think it's wrong in a way to work for an established hostel or hotel or something, because at that point they should just be hiring staff. It's weird that you could go somewhere and all the staff is just not getting paid. I feel like if all of your staff is just unpaid volunteers that you're kind of taking advantage of, your hostel's probably shit. Because there's no organization, and also why should these volunteers care at all about the hostel? They probably don't, because they're going to get out of there in a week or two when their time's up and they can get the hell off to their next place. These hostel workaways, a lot of them are the same. It's like you gotta live in a dorm, you work a lot, and a lot of times you don't get to stay in the nice like guest suites, like guest rooms in the hostel. You have to stay in the worker dorm, so you're sharing your room with more people, and it's just like shittier. It's like, just pay the $15 for the hostel a night. Like, is it worth it to save that? I don't know. Here's an example of a place in Hvar, Croatia. Was just there. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. This girl left a review, 2-star review, talking about the person was nice, but the whole thing was super unorganized. It is not 5 hours, 5 days a week as described. There are not free days because of the lack of organization. You end up spending lots of times in the hostel. Another one says there's no schedule. He just expects a helping hand when needed. That's so dangerous. I hate when hosts don't have a schedule. It's like, oh, just help when needed. That means you're always helping. Come on. If there's not a set schedule, there's not a set time when you have off, that means you're always on, and you're always expected to help, and you're always working, and then you end up like this poor girl who went for 2 weeks and got no days off. This is another hostel in Hvar with bad reviews. Basically, they want someone who's going to work all day. This is exactly what they said. We are looking for someone who is going to animate guests in the hostel, organize their day, hang out with them, help them in any kind of way, help out with breakfast, cleaning, maintaining the hostel. You're always working. They want you to always be working. This girl wrote a review. It's 5 stars, but she says she was there for 5 weeks and she only had 2 days off. 5 weeks of working with only 2 days off. And she says, since the hostel was fully booked, our accommodation wasn't in the hostel, but in a simple and not very comfy apartment shared with other volunteers. This is shit. This is like a crazy scheme. Like, you're giving people shit and they're working all the time for you. It's unbelievable. And the weird thing is, she gave this 5 stars. Probably because she liked the people. And this is why so many awful, bad workaways have 100% reviews, because these people are like, they get 2 days off and 5 weeks of working. They live in a crowded apartment, not what was said was supposed to be the accommodation. Still, they gave 5 stars. I wish that people would be a little more honest. Like, you can like the person and still be like, yeah, as a workaway, it's bad. I like you, but this isn't what I was promised. A lot of these times, the accommodation is so bad, since they're making you bring your own freaking sleeping bag and pillows and sheets anyway. You'd be better off just camping. Then at least you could do what you want all day, because either way, it seems like a lot of these places, you're gonna have to buy your own food. You don't have Wi-Fi, don't have running water. You might as well just go yourself and camp somewhere. But yes, those are my list of some bad workaway host profiles, some examples of places you wouldn't want to go, or at least I know I wouldn't want to go. I hope this was interesting to you. I like dragging these bad profiles because honestly, they deserve it. If you want, I could make another one. I'm sure there are a ton more bad workaway profiles. If you have any that you've come across, send them to me. I would love to see and make fun of and laugh at. And I will also probably be making a video about my personal experience with Workaway, how to make sure you have a good time like I did. But yeah, let me know if you want to see any more stuff from me. Thank you for watching. If you got to this point, you are the best. Please subscribe, and yeah, I have so many more videos coming out. Thank you again for watching.